Hey James, mate, how are we, buddy?
Good again. How's yourself?
Yeah, very good. How's Cyprus treating you? Nice and hot over there?
Yeah, I've been sweating a bit this morning, changing t-shirts and stuff before I come in here.
Yeah, I didn't want to say anything, you know what
This is my third t-shirt.
I mean? You're just showing off now. It'll probably be freezing in the UK. Thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it. Obviously, we've recently launched our Good Men Helping Good Men kind of mission, initiative, movement. And as our kind of following's been growing, I noticed that, the likes of yourself, it kind of liked a couple of things. And somebody of your standing who's kind of connected to what we are. And we just had a look at what you were doing. And we're a big believer in everything that we're doing. Authenticity has got to be at the core of everything. So when we see kind of like-minded men or men who are operating authentically in any type of space to help others, we're like, we want to fucking talk to them. You know what I mean? So one of the reasons we kind of reached out to you is because we thought, fuck, this guy's straight down the line. I'm a little bit rough already.
Just a little bit away.
And you look like it is what it you do what you say on the tin, you know what I mean. So I'm really interested to find out a little bit about your story and what brought you to where you are today. So without further ado, mate, who are you and kind of what made you the man you are today? Who was little James? And
Well, to be fair, I'm glad you said that, little James. We released a book a couple of years ago on my life called Making of an Addict. So we can just end it here, promote the book, and everybody, you don't have to listen to me bang on about it. It's all in the book. No, but it is. We had to do a book because to take it back to where my problems occurred, and my problems occurred all around the time of the age of 7, from food, from traumatic things that people wouldn't seem traumatic today, fear, abandonment, just a scared little James at the age of 7, just trying to fit in and doing anything to feel part of a community of people, a gang of lads, my own family. Just didn't feel a part of anything. So I was from like I say, 7. I was craving some form of attention, very self-obsessed. I was in here. As far back as I can remember, I was locked up in here. And then from then, it was just self-important. I was so self-important, I needed to make something happen and be myself. And as soon as I got attention, I was all over it. If anyone paid me attention, I was all over it. If there was something I could do to get attention, I'd do it. So from boxing professionally to playing rugby on a semi-professional level, being in a rock band for 20 years, now I look back and know exactly. I don't do them things no more because it was all part of the problem. I wanted attention. I was self-seeking because I felt uncomfortable in me. I've not spoke anything like this now in years. I've not done a podcast. The last podcast I've done, I think, was with James English, probably when I was in the thick of doing live shows. So I'll jump onto the live shows and then I'll work back if you want, because it was the live shows that absolutely catapulted me from everything that I tried, musically, boxing, business, anything. It was this show that I created on Facebook called the Shinny Show Live from a joke. And then I found myself in detox, coming off alcohol and drugs. And then in the detox, writing a song called Christmas Number One without me even knowing what it was about yet. Took it straight to a studio, thinking that I couldn't write music without being under the influence of drugs and drink, because that's how I'd always done it. And then I found something then that took me away. It distracted me from the drinking and the drugs. And I found this new song, something for me to throw all my energy into, along with recovery from the detox. I started to go to meetings, Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, all of them. And in promoting the song, I was promoting this recovery without even knowing. So cut a long story short, the song done great because of my addict and my drive. We got to number 24 in the UK chart, just off a campaign off this Facebook page. But through more of it, when the song had ended, and I'd come over to Cyprus at that time as well and relapsed, and people wanted to know more about this recovery thing then. And then without me even trying, I was just saying, I'm going to the meetings, I'm back sober again. So people invested the time into watching me get clean and sober again. And then it became pretty big as it was. And then it was managed. The management team come in, they spotted how big it had became. And then the lockdown happened. And then it fucking exploded because my page, my show from a Thursday night recovery talk show became a morning show. Me getting up every morning with the phone, showing people how I get up. I struggle even to this day, I struggle with my mental health. Everything's negative. Nothing makes fucking sense still now, no matter how much work I've done on myself. My first train of thinking is negative. So I was showing people an honest side, the truth, because social media is not the truth 99% of the time. And I was showing them how I struggled, breaking down in tears, rushing to the kettle to flick the kettle switch on, because I knew by doing that, getting from one space to another, it was paramount for me. Because if I wasn't going to get to B, I was going to stay at A in bed with all this traumatic thinking and negative thinking. And I just started showing people. I'd get to the kettle, flick the switch, have a pint of water, have a strong coffee, pray, meditate, cold shower, gym, all that stuff that I talk about. And I was just showing people. But then it became like a nighttime show. There was, it went crazy. We had people on my show at 9 o'clock every night from mental health experts, doctors, TV presenters, famous people coming on at 9 o'clock talking about their struggles, and it went massive. We reached about between 5 to 8 million people a month, and I was getting everything I'd ever wanted: fame, glory, the king, the top of the tree. I fucking loved it. It sent me, my ego was through the roof, and now I can look back and think, fuck me, everything you're against now is everything you was then. And my life is so much different because it went so big. You know, we always laugh. My missus has done good in her field as well, and she's recognised. And I can't go to any airport in the world without someone recognising. And for me, that was the best thing ever, to be recognised and have a photo with someone or a selfie. And I loved it then, but now it's because I'm very awake to it all.
What was it that, because you've described like a real common thing there, that people think, climbing that mountain and having all, whatever it is, money, fame, whatever, that's the thing. Then sometimes you get there and you go, fuck, this isn't it,
Really
right?
want it.
It doesn't exist. So what was it for you that was that light bulb when you got there? What changed when you achieved what you thought you wanted? What was it that kind of didn't give you that kind of, feeling that you thought it would?
Okay. We got trolled. And I believe God works in mysterious ways. We got trolled on a level, we can have a talk about it another time, on a level that I do have celebrity friends and A-list people that have said, I mean, we've had trolling, but we've never heard of anything like this. From my children being followed, pictures taken of them in this country, not in the UK, people being arrested, threats to kill. But because I'm a rebel at heart and I will fight back, I'm a fighting person. So when he was coming at me, this trolling, I didn't know how to work with it. So I just fought back. Fuck yous, this, that, the other. And it became like a big fight. And that became like massively famous as well, this trolling. But it affected my mental health and the people around me, their mental health. It affected so many people's mental health. And it absolutely destroyed everything that I'd built because it became so big. It became financially big as well. The money that was coming in off my show being generated was a joke. And then I kind of lost sight of what was most important, which was the message of my recovery and my addictions and my mental health, and carrying that message on to others. Don't know how many people it would have helped over the years. I was doing it for about 5 years, every day, the live show, and then it became about the fight back. And I fell into the part of, I'm getting fucking rich here. I'm going to be a millionaire through this. So my focus became the money and not the message. And I'll always say it, God humbled me and give me a right load of shit of different people nearly getting put in prison, it was endless. It was crazy. Even when we released the book, they tried to sabotage the book. The book became a bestseller because of that. Again, the drive, the addict in me. I've got to make it a bestseller. We've got to promote this, that, and the other. While fighting these trolls, it was crazy. Really wasn't healthy for me and the people around me. It was so unhealthy, and that's what brought me back to think I don't want this no more. I don't want it. My youngest child, I've got 2 young boys that I bring up with my partner, and that's difficult in itself. And it's like, I just don't want that anymore. That self-importance.
No. It's sound really fucking painful, and for those around you to get sucked up in that, and your energy would have been all over that, right? So you would have been in that fight or flight a lot of the time, and a big powerful guy like yourself, people would have felt that around them as well, right?
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, I can imagine. So what was it that they were, just trolling? Obviously, people like to get a nibble and they'll keep coming. Was it, or was this kind of felt like was there some kind of targeted approach to you? Because obviously the message you're doing is a great message, right? You sound like you're helping people on recovery. Right.
If it's free, it was passed on to me freely in certain fellowships. But what I did, I got into so many arguments and fights with people that had been in these fellowships, which I mentioned before, and I was talking about them. And the argument with me was, you shouldn't be speaking about this. It's the anonymity statement of you shouldn't be talking about our meetings and stuff. And I'm like, 1 minute, the amount of people that now go to these fellowship meetings because I've got a big fucking mouth and I'm screaming it from the rooftop, it saved my life. My kids have got the dad back again. I've got myself back into a great state. I want to fucking express this to people. And it did. And even like today now, things have changed. You hear it on the radio stations. You see posters put up over fellowship meetings and stuff. But mine was in a time through, it not fully broke through at that time. So it was like I say, from that side of the world, the fellowship world looking at me, I made a job. I was earning money crazily, through this show. And they're like, you shouldn't be mixing money with mental health and addiction. And when I can look back now, I think if I continued doing it for free, I probably wouldn't be doing it anymore anyway, because I've done about 4 years of the live shows daily from fuck on. But as soon as I start becoming a success in this field and talking my stuff, these people did not like it. You shouldn't be charging. And I'm like, fuck off, it's none of your business kind of thing. And it just exploded.
Look, I don't think there's any issue with profit for purpose. If you've got a divine calling and a gift that can help humanity, which is helping through addictions, then good on you. Because there's people out there making money for gambling and no one says anything. There's people out there selling cigarettes, drink, drugs. No one gives a fuck, right? But all of a sudden you're helping help heal people. Well, again, that's a great energy exchange, and if you get rewarded for that, good on you. So I don't understand that kind of train of thought, and I think that's a kind of, in this space, it's a bit of an uncomfortable one. But at the end of the day, if you're helping people, great. Now, I wanted to kind of take you back a little bit, because you touched on something there. You mentioned when you were 7 years of age, and we talked about kind of little James there, because we'll build up into all of this. You mentioned like you were constantly kind of in your head, even as young as you can remember. Was there something that kind of, what was it when you were young? Is it just something that you've always been, or was there some kind of circumstances that kind of triggered something in you?
Well, it's very easy for me to regurgitate this because I wrote a book about it all, you see, and the book explains from the beginning, my first real memory of doing something that nobody else was involved in but me. I made a decision. I made a decision, and it's in doing that, something like a light bulb moment, like it's like I became conscious of everything around me straight away because I've made this decision. And it was the decision was to drink out of a dirty piece of water. It's a puddle. Everyone laughs like that. Don't drink out of puddles. You'll end up like that, fucking barmy bastard. And instead of going up to my nan's, so many flights of stairs to get some water, because it was like the times when you get showers and then it'd be red hot and back home years ago, the weather was so different. But anyway, I didn't go upstairs, and I've got my eye on this puddle of water that everybody steps into, that puddle, going up the stairs, down the stairs. It's just a manky puddle. And I got on my hands and knees, and I fucking slurped this puddle and nearly drank it dry because of the thirst. And I remember getting up, and that's when it was like a spark moment in my head. Like, no one knew I did that. And from then, everything pops into my head. Manipulation, deceit, how I can lie. This uncomfortableness in me now, I'm going to get out of this because I'm going to lie and cheat and manipulate to make myself feel comfortable. I'll make moves around people so I'm more welcomed and I become part of. And then in being part of, I don't like just being part of. I need to command that space. I need to be the head of this gang and that. And it just fucking exploded. And every day was like a job for me. How am I going to get out of this feeling? What do I need to do? Who do I need to manipulate to make me feel better? And that's how it started. And from then, it was obviously from 7 moving into, I was very old-headed. It was like I became an adult fast. So I was manipulating people around my own age, no problem. And then I was manipulating teachers and family members to get what I wanted. And that was it for every day in my life as far as I can remember. Building up to the point of like the Shinny Show stuff, I was still in the thick of my head. When I was doing gigs, it was all about attention and self-seeking to make me feel better and belong to something. Rugby, I didn't even know how to play rugby. I took to it straight away because I knew I can get in with these gang of lads. It's a lovely group, this. All I've got to do is run fast and I need to go to the gym now. I've started training harder and it was so exhausting what I had to do just to feel comfortable in myself. So that's how it started from being a kid, though. That was my memory.
And of the work that you've done, have you pinpointed? Have you ever got to where that's come from? Because obviously you're chasing to be. If you got to that that depth.
Yeah, fear. I'm such a scared child. Fear and food. So my first drug was not drink or anything class A. My first drug, and I this is hand on heart, it was food. I was addicted to food because there's a part in the book, it's about my granddad showing me so much love, and my nana didn't really. She wasn't. She was more for my sister, and I spoke openly about this, but my granddad loved me. He kind of felt sorry for me. But when I was upset through being bad, having to be grounded in the bedroom and stuff, he'd always give me, it was called lemon curd butties. I called it lemon cheese. That was my nickname for it. So my granddad was showing me love, and he'd always get me a lemon cheese butter, and I'd eat it and eat it. And it was like I found comfort in food then. And I started eating because I was getting comfort. Like, I feel uncomfortable, eat. Granddad, give me some love. Food, granddad's not there. I need to eat sweet stuff. And I get that ease and comfort, like a warm feeling. So for me, that's exactly the same as what the drugs have ever done and the drink have ever done, or the attention gives me that warm feeling. I only had my granddad really to give me that. My mum gave me love anyway, but aside of that, it was my granddad. My dad left when I was 1, so there was no man around the house, so I was fucking terrified. I only had my sister and my mum. I was scared of the dark. I pissed myself till an older age. I was just scared, fear. So when people say you had all this trauma, did anything happen to you as a child? Did anyone mess about with you? I said, no, there was none of that for me. It was the fear of, just felt like someone was always going to get me or take my mum away from me. I remember listening to the door at my mum's, so I could hear her breathing, because I was terrified of losing her, thinking I'm going to be on my own. It was just an horrible, traumatic time as a child. So obviously when I started being able to use my brain and stuff, I was working out ways to stop this feeling. Food, girls, attention, all them stuff, when you're growing up. It's just manipulating all different situations. I was getting attention, started going to a gym, started getting a bit big, got a little bit of attention. And from that little bit of attention, it was like fucking steroids, squatting, deadlifting, massive. I was using school. I was just an horrible steroid using bastard, like in my later years in school. But I was getting attention. So from that attention then, I was physically became like a monster. I created this monster that no one would fuck about with because I didn't have an alpha male. So my alpha males was the guys in the gym, these big bastards, doormen, drug dealers, gangsters, whatever you could portray them as. But for me, no one fucks about with these big muscly guys. So I need to be a big muscly guy so I don't get fucked with because I don't want to be fucked with because I'm scared really deep down. And then I created this monster, a persona in myself, like I'm a big dangerous bastard, but really I'm little James trying to get away from anything coming to get me. So we're looking for out me, like this is the real him, real. This is the real him. He's a big shit house, really. Do you know what I mean? Like you say, it's a daily battle.
No, thanks for sharing. That's pretty deep, and I can imagine in there. You talk about not feeling safe, and especially for kids, all of a sudden, your dad's not there and stuff, and all of a sudden you're like, shit. I can really kind of understand that panic you must have had around your mum. And as you said, little James is there, and he's still there today, right? And it must have been really tough for you to kind of wear those masks because effectively that's what you're doing
every
all
day.
those years.
Yeah,
just throwing fucking different masks on.
For that. Yeah,
it's exhausting, right? Because your true authentic self is the thing that you're ultimately trying to get to now, right? How tough was it for you, kind of wearing those different masks? Did it wear you down? At what age did you become aware of this?
Like I say, from that event with the
You were
puddle,
always aware what you were doing.
very switched on. Yeah, and it was from then every day. How can I get involved with these people? How can I get out of doing that? I want to do this, but I'm going to need to do A, B, and C to get there. And it was just every exhausting. And when I look back now, I think what I was trying to protect, and I created this monster to protect this little scared, overweight, fat little kid that his clothes didn't fit him and he felt embarrassed about everything and he was scared. And I created this thing for him, really. And when I started doing a lot of work around myself to find out it was my granddad's love and food, they was the first comforts, my first addictions. It was like, but you've created this person now who's, you created it became tough because he was boxing and playing rugby. I became a tough person, even though I wasn't. And all I was ever doing was trying to protect this child in me. And now it's like, I am the child, but I don't need to protect the child no more. It's gone. All that fear and worry and anxiety and stuff, it's all gone now. So what you're protecting, what's this ego for? Now, why are you putting a mask on for him? Why are you putting a mask on for her? Why do you become like a chameleon to try and fit in? Just be your fucking self. And this is the normal me. I'm an uptight, angry bastard a lot of the time. I bring up young kids, my young boys, and I've got a daughter at 14 and a son at 21, and they're my they have to be, if they need dad, I've got to be there, do you know what I mean? And even they was last in the list because it was all about me and what am I going to get out of this life? And all I was chasing was this I just wanted to be recognized and known. I wanted to be someone. I didn't just want to be part of this thing that I was awake to now. I didn't want to be that a 9 to 5 person or just somebody that wasn't going to achieve anything in life. And it's just an horrible way to live. And I know most addicts and certain types of people have that going on in their head until one day they wake up and think, this is a load of fucking nonsense, this. So much energy has been fucking wasted and used.
And it usually comes with the pain, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've been protecting this kid and you've built this monster, right? You built this big fucking scary monster who's fucking wearing all these masks, manipulating all these situations. you mentioned this is feeling really uncomfortable for you because your authentic self is known. This isn't fucking me. So you've got this internal battle on the daily. You spoke about your addictions and stuff. How dark did it get for you? And during these
With the
periods where
drugs,
when you turn to drugs, how dark did it get for you?
really bad. 10 years cocaine addiction. There was always the underlying problem of alcohol. It was always there, and I never twigged what was really causing the problem. And then crack cocaine, another 10 years. One drug, it wore out. It didn't work for me anymore, cocaine. But then I was introduced to crack cocaine, and that worked tremendously. It was just, and that's when it really went dark. And it became to a point where there was heroin involved at some of the times around me. And the only way I can explain it, we'd always say a rock bottom. It's a rock bottom. You hit a rock bottom, and then you go in. It becomes that painful. You find some form of recovery against these addictions, whatever it is. Mine was a high that brought me into recovery because I tried a certain drug and it never worked on me before until one time. And because it worked in such a way, it gave me everything that I ever wanted and needed as a child, like a love of my mother and my granddad and my sister all together, just an ease and comfort. It took everything away. And the day after, I was terrified, thinking, not this. I can smoke crack, I can be a cokehead, I can be a violent runner, but this other thing, there's a stigma to it, even more in drinking and cocaine and stuff like that, and it scared me that much. I begged a friend of mine to get me into this recovery thing that I'd heard about before. And he said, right, are you ready? I said, I'm fucking ready. I'll do whatever it takes. And that's when the recovery started then. I mean, I'm active addiction for 20, 25 years. And what brought me to my knees in the end, it wasn't the crack or the cocaine or anything like that. It was alcohol. I became a drinker. Like, well, I don't do that no more. And our kid don't doing that shit. He just has a drink. But then I was a daytime drinker, then a morning drinker, and then a nighttime drinker and all that. And then I became a rattling alcoholic. And
Wow.
that really brought me to my knees badly. Got me right back into detox. And then I found some real recovery because I knew it wasn't about the drug and the drink. It was about this. The drugs and the drink became my ease and comfort. They solved my problems, the drugs and the drink. When they say, I don't want to start saying cliches, but the cliches are right. The drugs and the drink was the solution to my illness, my addiction, the disease that centers in your mind. And that's how I was talking all the time on my show, listening to people in the meetings, picking up things. That sounds good. That sounds good. I like what he said. I like what she said. I'm going to bring that to my show. All of a sudden, I'm talking this good stuff and people have really convinced that I'm some clever bastard that's written all this myself. And I wasn't. So helping all them people was great because I was talking the stuff, but deep down, I was just wanting to sound good and look good because I wanted to. It was taking away this insecurity in me. I started to feel like big and powerful again. I'm this big thing on social media, and all I was doing was feeding my ego. My ego was running wild again. Ego.
Yeah, it's funny because you can sometimes spot that if you've got emotional intelligence when somebody's doing this stuff, whether it be online or whatever. You can spot those things.
I see it all the time.
You kind of go, hang on, that's a bit smelly. But like what I liked about you, I looked at some of your recent stuff. You can see it's raw, it's vulnerable, and you're calling yourself out on shit. You're saying about the stuff that's going on, and you feel it too. And that's the real shit that connects, because that's like, I say people wear the masks, and as I say it all the time, I'm trying to help men, but I'm constantly fucking up. I'm catching myself messing up in the relationship, and then I'm sharing what I've done and how I've recovered from that. And because we're humans, we're perfectly imperfect. So that thing you've discussed there of when you kind of, when did you finally make that transition to go? Because you're spot on. What you've done is help people anyway. So fucking great, big win. If it's helping people, it's helping people. But for you, it feels like you maybe start to wear less masks, but you're pulled to a certain thing, right? How did it feel, that transition from starting to step into yourself, from starting to step into your authentic self? Because obviously you're there, you start to step into it now, right? Can you explain the difference from fucking basically living a lie to stepping into your truth?
Like you said there, though, we're perfectly imperfect. It's not like a switch where I suddenly went, oh, I'm awake. That was a load of madness, wasn't it? And my ego's in check all the time, and it's a working process. It's a daily thing. We're always guilty. I can do like a story. Didn't sound right, so I'm going to delete it. I'm going to make sure my stories sound good. Bang, yep, that sounded good. I'll post that. Or I'll do one in me post. And all I'm ever doing usually is just keeping my foot in there still. For whatever reason it is, I want to get back into social media or not. I just keep my numbers there. Do you know what I mean? That'll get a good reaction. I'll get 20,000 views on that one, or I'll keep on my Facebook page. I'll do a certain picture and it'll get 100,000 views. So in my head, it's like, need to take a similar picture to that next week, and so I'm still doing it. And then I'll catch myself and think, but why are you doing it? Are you helping someone? Yeah, it's still helping someone. Well, what's it helping in you? It's your ego again. When I'm weightlifting, I don't just, we all do it. I'm only posting this now because as long as it helps one person, I've done a good deed for the day. And it's like, yeah, but what about the other 400 people that have like you lifting your dead heavy weights? And we're self-seeking. It's the dopamine. It's like, all my likes, yeah. I'm still liked. I'm still all right. There's that ease and comfort again. It's just a load of bullshit. But I pulled away from social media for a long time because of the drama that it caused. But then I missed it because it was my life. It was my everything. The Shinny Show live on Facebook. We lost the page. We couldn't find it. They reckon it got cancelled because of the stuff I was doing through the lockdown, because I was at the front saying, no, none of that for me. Fuck you. And honestly, there's some funny videos of the police coming to get me as if it was all my fault and stuff. And again, ego, phone, arguing with police, and as if I'm dead important. And this is the thing, and I was only speaking about this the other day. I was nervous about doing this for you, probably why I'm not sure, because my nerves are going. It's just that self-importance, I just haven't got it anymore. When people say, do your lives again, and this, that, and the other, and come back, and it was great, you saved my life, and this, that, and it's like, it's everything that the old me would say, yeah, all right, I'll come back, yeah, to help everybody. I just don't feel important anymore. And I don't know whether I beat myself up now, or I'm at a point in my life where I'm just fucking happy. I'm 48, got my family, we have this life, and I'm such an ungrateful bastard at times, me, because I suffer with these things. Like I say, my first train of thinking is so negative in the morning, nothing makes sense. And then I have a pint of water, again, never change my ways. Coffee, I pray to something bigger than me. I meditate without question. I do that every day, and I've done for years. And then I'll find some kind of cold water therapy and some kind of heat, and then I'll train. And if I'm not doing them things in the morning, giving myself the best fighting chance, that it's just not a good place to be. It's horrible. It really is.
Well, yeah, mate, and there's so many people like that, and I think that I can feel your honesty, I can feel your rawness, I can feel like, and I think I always say vulnerability is a superpower, and I think why not continue to share that message and be real and help people with it. And if previously maybe you got more caught up in the ego or saying things that you didn't necessarily believe in, well, fucking why not go all in as the clean air vessel that you are now? Because what you've just described, there's so many people will be going through, right? And if it's helping you, how many people would you have helped previously? It's fucking brilliant. And it's almost like my job here is done.
Years. Yeah, every day for years. And I can look back and I always say karma is a thing. And I've done a lot of bad stuff in my time, in the book. And there's even a film ready to be done for this. And even now, that was my ego. Let's do a film on my life. And now I think, why the fuck are you? Why you? Why are you so important to have a film made on your life? Leave it to the other people, and doing the book, again, ego kicked in. Why am I that important for somebody to read my book? Why do I need to? So now I have kind of cancelled it all to really work out what are my reasons. If a film would save thousands of lives, because what popped into my head was, well, it'd be great for kids at a certain age to be seeing this film. Fuck getting on at the pictures and stuff. How about making a film, a docu-film for children in school? Remember the film, Kez? You remember Kez?
Yeah.
With the
Arcas,
bird.
yeah.
It's just such a phenomenal film that everybody from our era watched that film. And then I think the most important people to get a message to is the younger generation, because it's like
100%.
prevention rather than cure. Prevent it from happening instead of going through that rigmarole of curing these people that have just got no awareness of why they think like that, why they're insecure, why they're getting addicted to drugs and food and relationships and trauma and you know, violence and stuff is an addictive thing. And
I
today,
couldn't
now
agree
the
more.
kids are so caught up in it all.
I couldn't agree more. That children's one is everything. I genuinely believe that humanity is sailing off the edge of a cliff. We're sailing off the edge of the cliff with everything that's going on. I think, it's, everything's just about money. Everyone, the big corporations, everything's just about money. And I think we skate around the edges of trying to help people, mental health, children, all that, but it's bullshit, really. And it's taken independent people to do stuff to really try and change. And the children, I'm looking at children at the moment, and with the, there's a clear correlation. iPhones, when that comes in, social media comes in, mental health crisis goes through the roof. The age of suicidality being the leading cause of death starts reducing. It's now between 15 to 45. Leading cause of death is suicide.
About 5 years ago, it was not 15. It was like 25 or something.
And whatever the statistics are, the fact that it's the number one leading cause of death in any age group is taking your own life. That means humanity is back to front. It's fucking lost itself. We are screwed up. We need to help ourselves. I'm looking at kids now. My missus has got a couple of kids, all over the phones, like most kids are. And you can't have a conversation. Their attention span's not there. So they can't converse properly. And they're getting battered by, I watched the daughter come round for the weekend, stayed at ours. She's getting battered by all this kind of dopamine hits, phone this, phone that, playing on Fortnite and all this crap. She comes away, she goes, I've got real anxiety. Like before she leaves to go back to her dad's. And I'm like, no wonder she's just been depleted. She hasn't stepped foot outside and to get any vitamin D. She's done no exercise. She's eating shit and stuck in the dark playing on things. It's destroying their brain. And as you said, instead of, of course, everybody should be educated and everything, but what's the most important thing for us as a human being to be educated on? What the fuck it is to be a human being? Why aren't our children being taught about emotional regulations? Why aren't they being taught about when you feel like this is how you can process it, instead of waiting till we're our age with all this fucking traumas to try and unpick it? You know what I mean? And our kid, we're trying to work on ourselves still to this day. You know what I mean? I've only started discovering things.
The new generation haven't got a fucking chance. They've not got a chance.
No chance.
No chance.
No chance. I know you're a parent. What are you seeing?
Fucking hell. The same. I'm not going to say which child, what age, but yeah, it causes trouble, causes problems. Like, I do know this, the things, my interest on this, I don't scroll Instagram hardly. My interest come up, but it's usually fun stuff or stuff about TRT or stem cells and this, that, and the other. I get a lot of interest, but a lot of things that I've checked over my own kids. So my interest always pop up, and one of them was the brain development for patients in a child. It starts working about 4, 5, around them years at their age, and then you learn how to be patient, how to stand still and wait for something. So when these children are playing on devices from the age of 4 and 5, they're not developing in the brain where they need to be. And I've seen it in my own children and other people's children. If you take a phone out of their hand, they're like, it's like every kid's got fucking ADHD that's got a phone at the minute. They're like that. You talk to them, I do this with my kids. Look at your dad in the eyes when I'm speaking to you, because they're looking at you, but they're looking right through you. And the brain somewhere, it's still in the fucking game. It's still in the cartoons and stuff, yeah. Let them watch cartoons. Fucking not cartoons, but these games and stuff. If I tried to play a game with one of my youngest kids, he'd absolutely kick my ass because I haven't got a clue. But it just goes to show they're developing in other areas that we don't know. Maybe in decades, it's like, you know, they might be building fucking spaceships because of this technology that they're learning now. But it's life skills. It's like common sense things. It's like the kids haven't got no common sense. It's all, they're locked up in that. So you see a kid stood there with no phone, they don't know what to fucking do with themselves. Yap, 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 yap. So that, and then I see it, the insecurity, and this is with my own kids and other kids I've seen. You can't shut them up if they've not got the phone because they're not comfortable. So they need to be part in the mix, talking. And I see it and think, that's down to these fucking phones up. It really is.
Oh, 100%. And it's scientifically proven. It's reducing your dopamine. It's causing all of this mental health crisis. It's the key thing is that, you know, the horse is out the gates, right? So it's like, what the fuck do we do with this humanity? And
I'm going to stop this.
Yeah, for me, the key thing is what you just said. It's about educating people at source. So, you know, I always say we've got to, like, you know, at the portal of all these new souls coming, getting birthed, we've got to be educating them at as early as possible around what it is to be a human, what's good and bad, how to process emotions. So then, no matter what comes at them, because we can't change this thousands of shit of problems, you know, listening to all these dickheads that way, government's there, fucking
You've got to try and
councils there,
work
teachers
along
there.
with it.
Yeah, but you've got to kind of go, well, all that's out there. All, you know, bad, you know, people are sending bad messages that way. Some people are sending good messages that way. We've just got to go, well, there's too much out there. We can't fucking change everything. We've got to educate our new people coming through to understand and get to them better than we did. Because we're discovering it now. You know what I mean? I think we're coming into it in our 40s now. But unless we do something with the new kind of souls coming into this who are being born, they're going to be screwed. Because they're going to be worse off than us. Because their attention deficit is just fucking dramatically reduced. Yeah, I could talk about that all day. Just want to go back a little bit there because you touched on something about, and I know you've kind of wrote your books on that. Unfortunately, I haven't read it. Sorry to say I haven't read
the
your
link's
book.
in the bio on my Instagram. Just click that.
I'm going to get all over. I'm going to get all over it now, brother.
To be fair,
I'm going to get all over it. Tell us about. So, how did you end up being in a rock band, and what did you get? What did you get up to? Tell me about that.
Well, playing rugby, it was rugby that started me off with this. Well, I always done bodybuilding, and so I became physically fit and fast and renowned for it, how good I was at running and stuff after leaving school. A bit of a reputation of running fast, parties, after show parties and stuff like that. You know,
you just give it the big ones.
Okay, yeah, jumping over big fucking fences to race people. Just this mad thing. And my mate got me into rugby because he'd been to a few fucking parties with me at the time. He's like, you do fucking good in rugby, you know. We get you on that wing. And from that, I went down with him one night. And at this time, I was drug dealing. I was an alleged gangster, you know, all that bullshit. Absolute bullshit, you know, pulling a few stunts and moves, and all of a sudden I have this reputation again, just manipulating different situations. But I found this rugby thing, and I took to it straight away. The addict in me, the bodybuilding and all that addiction there, kind of got put on the shelf, and then I was a rugby player overnight. I got picked up fast and started scoring tries. Then I was put in the local paper. Fame and glory. This is like, fucking, this is a way in this. So I really got stuck into the rugby. I got picked up for lead rhinos at a very early part of my rugby amateur days. Yeah, I found something. But in that, I got in with a new group of people that was booze drinkers and singers playing the guitars and going to these bars after the rugby matches and stuff. And every week I'd go, nah, I'm going to go back because I was still going back to my other world from being in this world of rugby to my other world. And this one weekend I said, go on, fuck it. I'll come out with you this afternoon after the game. And I see my mate singing for the first time. He sung a Bob Dylan song. My mate John McFadden. And it was his fault. I fucking fell in love with this, what he was doing. Like, fucking hell. Everyone's clapping him, you know, fucking cheering him. I thought, I need some of this. Day after, bought a guitar. Week after, learned the guitar. Second week, I'm on the same stage singing Tambourine Man, Bob Dylan. That's how fast I would run with things. And then I was getting applauded, and that was it. From that, a few months down the line, formed a rock band, Hanky Park, the name of the local area where I was from, but before I was born. And it just, again, the addicts selling tickets, becoming this big, great band. Wasn't even that good in the early days. We were shit. We became good because we had a lot on our shoulders by this time. We were selling out fucking venues that other people just wasn't selling out. And then I got friends with Peter Hook out of New Order, Joy Division. Then he got me supporting their band. I wasn't even the lead singer. I was the backing singer to my own band, but because I was so conscious and I wasn't confident to be the front man. I was more hiding behind the guitar. I wasn't that confident by this time. But then I built a bit of confidence in singing a couple of songs with the band. And then manipulative kind of ushered the lead singer out. Then I became the lead singer. and then, and it was only at a time when New Order, no, Joy Division's, well, Peter Hook at the time, it was New Order. He rung us and said, "You still in your band?" I'm like, yeah, but we broke up the band. He went, "You still rehearsing and that?" I'm like, "Yeah, people still doing it." He went, "Right, I've got a show for you in Scotland at the Barrowlands." I'm like, "All right, Pete, yeah, no worries, I'll let the band know." We weren't even together. Rung everybody except the lead singer, said, "Right, here's the deal. I've got this gig and I'm going to sing some of them songs that we've been doing with me." Yeah, they just went with it. And from then, I was the front man, and you can only imagine getting that attention. It was fucking on. Released 3 albums
Wow.
with iTunes, got the Christmas song, the loads of shows in New Order, in Finsbury Park, London, gigs with all Echo and the Bunnymen, loads of different fucking great bands. It just exploded. For 20 years I was doing that.
Wait, mate, were you still an addict then? Were you still kind of taking,
Full
using?
blown, full blown.
Yeah,
Full blown
mate,
coke. In
that
them
must,
days, it
that
was a
was,
coke and the drink before I was introduced to the crack. That came a lot later, but still in a rock band. I
so
can remember smoking up
the
on the crack.
full rock star lifestyle, mate. The full
Oh
rock
yeah,
star lifestyle.
yeah. Sold out the Academy 3, 500 tickets sold over the space of a few weeks. Got picked up by some friends, and one of them pulled out a pipe with crack, and he's like, "I shouldn't really do it because I've got this gig to do." But there I was behind the venue. Then I had the world on my shoulders, the horrors, as I'd call them, and I had to go out in front of these 500 crowd, shitting myself because I've been doing that shit. I just swallowed loads of beer and fucking ran with it and got away with it. All I was ever doing was getting away with it, blagging it. That was what threw me when I first went into detox, and I thought, my music's gone, because the only way I know how to do that is by drinking and using, and then I done it sober. And I wrote this song sober, and then, no coincidence, it became a chart fucking seller at 24 in the charts. I was fucking buzzing, couldn't believe it. And then I knew then I can live without drinking drugs in my life. I can. And I was clean and sober for years, 6 years ago.
Mate, what was that feeling like? Because there's a lot of people who think fame and fortune or fucking living that rock star lifestyle. And there's you talk about social media being bullshit, which it is 90% bullshit. But people look at these people and they're showing this perfect lifestyle, and this is it. There's so many young men out there aspiring for this lifestyle. What was your view on it all, and what did it, how did it feel living that thing, which some people are aspiring to, as we know, can be fake?
I was doing it all to feed something, feed my ego, and um, again, that self-importance. I was that important. I've got to be involved in a rock band or boxing. Fucking hell, I only had one amateur fight. I got dragged into that as well, boxing, and then I was like, "What? One amateur fight? No money for all that stuff I've just done. Fuck that. Turn me pro. I'll get some dough out of this. You know what I mean? And I'll get in the papers again." And that's what I did. And my last fight was at the MEN Arena. In fact, I'm the only person to have ever fought at the MEN Arena, boxing. And I done a show. I opened the show for Robbie Williams at the MEN Arena. No one's ever done that before. I
Fucking
never
hell, mate.
speak. I
No,
think I
no
might
wonder
mention
you're
that
making a
before.
film. No wonder you're
Well,
making a film and a book. I'd tell you to if you weren't.
yeah, well, it was, again, though, it was all based around this fear, ego. And I come up with this thing. I probably heard it off someone: ego, edge God out. I was edging God
Yeah.
out all the time. I became God, and this higher power thing was kind of put to the side. And what God will do to you, he'll smite you. He'll have you. you know, say, all right, is it your God then? Yeah, so let's see about that. And I think you get taught many lessons by doing that. And I'm 48 now, and I think I'm still not fully awake because I can still catch myself out. What am I posting that video for? Or I can think, hey, it's Tuesday today. It's good engagement. I need to post them on. Then I'll be like, I'll talk to myself like, why? Who are you? Why are you so fucking important? All you're going to do is repeat somebody else's message. And so I can have that argument with myself. I can post things that help people, but then I've got to look at it and think, but why are you doing it? Is it to help people or is it to fucking help yourself? And there's a balance that you have to fight with. Yeah, you're going to feel all right by doing it because you're going to get a few comments and, you know, you're going to get your little dopamine kick, you know, your likes, but you are going to help someone. And that was something that people that helped me in recovery had to teach me then when I was questioning it, saying, well, you're telling me to help everyone. I feel fucking great. And they said, but that's the deal. You go and help someone, you're going to feel better. You know, when all else fails, if you go and help somebody else out, it's going to transform your negative thinking because your mind's on them. But there's a balance with that as well, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But I'm a big believer in our stories are our gifts to help others. Our stories are gifts to heal others. And you have an incredible story. You've gone into a lot of the depths. You've experienced all the addictions. You've experienced the highs and the lows. And your story through that journey and everything what I'm hearing and we'll continue to unpick is one of fucking this thing isn't the way. Authenticity is the way. Fucking understanding who you are is the way. That's where the fucking love and the peace and the joy comes from. So why would you're gonna? It is almost selfish when you help someone. You know what I mean? And if you're you've got such a fucking beautiful story there because you can meet most people where they are. You know, any fucking young men coming up, you've been in a lot of areas, right? And
Yeah.
you can show them, you know, your message. So I would, you know, my fucking advice to, you know, like you, I think we need more men like you stepping up, talking real, talking vulnerable, tell them exactly how it is, telling them as you did with you, as you said with your addictions, you used to say when you were fucking up. I think it's so fucking important, mate. So I would
I
say
think it
fucking
can
lean
be a
into it.
novelty though. I really do. I've seen it when I first come around onto doing the live, I was probably one of the first to be talking the way I did about recovery and getting clean and sober because all these other people that was taught in fellowship, like AA, NA and stuff, don't be talking about this on, you know, this is our, it's like a secret. And I was one of the first to start fucking regurgitating what I've heard and what I'm doing to get other people clean and sober. And then you see the likes of Tyson Fury coming up talking about mental health. And Ricky Hatton, I done my own little podcasting with Ricky where he was talking about his addictions and stuff. And I done a lot of interviews. I done podcasts and stuff. I never done any because I was doing podcasts with other people. I have a YouTube channel as well, you know. And then like people that I've knew, like Dorian Yates, 6-time Mr. Olympia. He was, if not my idol from being young, the biggest bodybuilder. I focused my energies on him, trying to develop the way he did and stuff. And I believe in manifesting as well. And somehow I manifested Dorian into my life and we've become great friends. And I ended up flying to Marbella with him and he flew over to England. We've done this big podcast thing together. And I'm a strong believer in all that. As long as you're on a good vibration at the time in your life. And I think the problem is nobody's on that good vibration anymore. It's gone so negative again, and not everybody's speaking about mental health again. They're not. It was a novelty that I think has wore off, and it's like it's becoming like a stigma again. And a few years back, it wasn't. Everybody was talking about mental health, and now everybody's pulled back, and I blame it on social media trolling. You get some men now that are coming on talking vulnerable, they get fucking attacked, and it's like, that's not fucking worth it. And that's what I did in the end. Selfishly, I don't know what it was for, but I said, this ain't fucking worth it no more. You can't stop doing it, you're saving lives. It's like, 1 minute, what about my fucking life? What about my family's life that are going through this traumatic time with me? I'm fighting every cunt every day on social media, becoming one of the trolls back at them. It's like the bullying. I was being bullied, then I was bullying other people that was bullying me, and it was just a vicious cycle. And these kids today have to go through this an undeveloped brain being attacked at 16, 17. Bullying stopped at the door in my era. You had a fight, they didn't come through your fucking door. Social media now has allowed bullying through your door, through your child's bedroom, onto their device where they're being bullied. Bullying has gone into a total different fucking space. It's not like how it used to be.
100%. So I go back to the discussion we were having just before about educating our young people coming into their own, because this is one of the challenges, the social media, the bullying and all that type of stuff. And I believe it's affected you, big fucking lumper that you are. You've been through that, through your business, this, that, and the other. And that's what I'm saying. I think you now in the position that you are, I would imagine wouldn't respond in the same way. And you've learned all of these lessons. So you can help a lot of people. You can help a lot of people with that. And I believe what I'm seeing right now is, obviously I've been moving into this space only recently in the past 6 months. We've got a whole movement that we believe is going to be life changing for a lot of people. We're talking to a few big players at the moment, and I think it's needed more than ever. I think the mental health is going through the roof, suicidality is going through the roof, and I don't give a shit what's gone on before. I'm just looking now, saying there's no one taking it by the scruff of the neck. There's nobody really kind of from a scalable level doing what we need to do. And I believe, the rising tide lifts all boats. And I believe fucking men like us who need to continue to keep that message ticking out. And whatever our fucking traumatic experiences, whatever we've got, and you've got fucking an eclectic mix there, fucking, you when you spoke, I listened. I watched your thing. I listened. I thought, this fucking guy's real. I fucking like what he's saying. And that'll connect to a certain
because we're
amount
attracted
of the population.
to real now. Everybody's attracted to real because there's no real hardly about. But you said something before about we're never going to be able to stop this machine now. Never. You can't beat him, join him. We have to join him, join in, but in a subtle way where we're passing a message through to the younger generation and the present generation, because we can't just say, right, stop, get off your phone. It's like an addict. And when I first come round, people were saying, you need to stop this, you need to stop that. It's like, all right, I'll stop this, I'll stop that. And do fucking what? Give me something to do, and I'll stop doing them. But I had no option. If it wasn't the music or the rugby, it was the booze and the drugs, and then it was the music, then it was the rugby, and it was back to it. So I kept falling back to the problem every time. And I think the best thing to do is it's people recognising the problem. Nobody's conscious of really what's going on. I am. I know I am, because I feel it and I see it all the time. I wasn't this conscious. And I think to solve a problem in somebody, you've got to let them know what their problem is. And their problem is, I'm on the phone too much. It's making me fucking ill. So then there needs to be another message like, well, if you can just curb your phone for a bit, then just do that. That's a start. And then you're not going to be able to stop this problem. So how do you work with the problem?
You fucking bang on the money, spot on. And because I believe, like, rather than, there's all people talk about negative messages, maybe bullying and all that. Why aren't we shining the light on the fucking good shit? Why aren't we shining the light? Why aren't the media shining the light on fucking good messaging, good men, good women, saying good shit, who are trying to fucking help each other, who are real, authentic people? Shine the light on that. Point that to the kids, not the other shit. And
it doesn't sell. This is the problem. I don't watch the news, so I get information through my Instagram stories, what my interests are. And people want disaster and they want chaos in other people's lives because it makes their life feel better. So when you're joining in with opinions on someone else and you're slagging someone else, that's you giving yourself validation. It's a false thing what you're doing to yourself. I've heard this, but this is me repeating what I've heard, and I thought, that's bang on. I'm hating on somebody there to make me feel better about myself because my life isn't in order. So it's like, I don't know how many people can say they're only projecting this because their life is shit. And it's like, yeah, we all know that. But how do we solve this problem then? It's all right, I've known about it. but how do we solve the problem of getting these people to just pull back and stop being attracted to negative stuff or with your opinions on others and,
Yep. Let's look at it this way. What you've just described is fucking on the money. And it's like, I just think gossip is the kind of the poison of the human existence. It's just poison for human. People go around, people just pass poison to each other, right? And there's a book that I've read, I read it fucking about 4 times a year called The Four Agreements. It's a fucking fantastic book. Highly fucking recommend you to read it, brother. And I just think if society read that book from an early age, fucking started reading that, because it's a really simple book from 4 to 5 years of age, and that was into people. Because you and I right now see the world in a certain way, and a lot of people as they go older, we see the world in a certain way, and we are not going to get affected by, we're not going to start watching, I don't even like to watch horror movies because I know that creates fear plays with my internal fucking my brain and doesn't make me fucking feel good. I definitely don't listen to half the media about all the doom and gloom because it's going to affect me. I'm smart enough to realize there's a scientific thing happening inside me fucking head. I'm not a scientist, but I know chemically when I do certain things, it makes me feel like shit. Now, kids have no idea, but I've known that now. So you and I aren't, we can look, our world's slightly different than these people next to us. But if we educate them, the world doesn't change, but they fucking change. So the minute we start educating from that early age with the fucking right books, the right education, to look towards the right men from a men's perspective and the right women and the right human beings, then they're not going to be affected like this. They're not going to start killing themselves at a fucking stupid amount rate of anxieties. It's got to be at source. We've got to start educating people earlier and earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's shit, really, because I don't know. We know what's going on. Again, I always have to refer back to what I know best, and I was taught a lot about the addicted mind and why you do certain things and why you get addicted to other things. For me, the biggest addiction on the planet right now is thinking and self-obsession. Everybody's self-importance. Everybody's got their own TVs. Before, I mean, you're talking 7 years ago, I started doing it. Now I'll go on social media. And if Instagram got shut down today, there's going to be a lot of people out of work, a lot of TV presenters, a lot of models, a lot of motivational speakers, because everybody has got their own platform. I mean, I see some people do it, and I can find myself getting into that. What they're doing, I can do it as well. That resentment against another person because they're doing exactly what I do, and it's like that doesn't make sense. I have to catch myself out. So what, you're gonna think he's a cunt because he's making noise in a gym? You noisy bastard! You fucking the noisiest out of everybody. Do you know? And I can catch myself. Why have I got this opinion on this person? And then I think they took all this time, and if they've got so many followers and they'll get 12 likes, but it took them probably about 3 hours of the day to get them tickets, them fucking, them gratification things, that dopamine, that kick. And it took them hours to do it. And I think, why have you done that? And then I'll catch myself out again and say, but what business is it of yours anyway, Shinny? You fucking do it just because you get 10 more likes in me. You more important. What about the guy that gets 100,000 likes against you? There I am. Oh, now I feel like shit. Because I've been on them and now I'm looking at somebody else and they're doing better and their picture's better than mine. Their lighting is definitely better. I'm feeling shit. And that is what social media is. Everyone else looks great. You don't look as good. You're not getting as many likes. So you're going to start feeling like shit. And that's where the problems are starting. Everybody's beating themselves up. I'm never going to get anywhere in life because look at these people now. And most of the time it's just bullshit. It's TikTok videos and you're never going to be able to compete with it. And somehow people have got to get out of that mindset of looking on social media and believing all of it's real, because everybody's posting the perfect picture. Everybody's deleted 10 stories to get the perfect one, and it's because I do it myself. But we're all guilty of it. And I think the more we admit it and say, I'm a cunt. Yeah, I bought them likes as well. Yeah, I bought a few followers years. Just be fucking honest about it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you're not that famous, But people can be like, I got 100,000 likes. I know, but you bought fucking half of them. So they're not genuine likes. Stop fucking telling yourself you're great. And that's where I've come into the self-importance side. It was all about self-importance to me. I was so important. It's like, as long as you're important to your children and your family and your partner, that's where you need to be important, because when the dust settles and all this is over, but this ain't going to mean a fucking... When you're taking your last breaths, who do you have around you? Instagram or your children and your partner and your family. So it's like, well, they're the most important things in my life. And yes, they are. Start focusing more on them. If you've got a message, make sure the message is going to go to your children as well. My eldest son, he's got a thing with drink, not because he thinks he might be an alcoholic, because he's seen his dad go through the fucking mill. So he knows all the warning signs for himself. So if I've done anything good there to help my own children through life, then great. But the messages that people are putting out now, if they are doing them for themselves, they're earning money or whatever, if it is slipping through to a younger generation and giving them the best message, then so be it. But I don't see that many great messages being passed down to the younger generation, really, apart from self-obsession.
So do you feel that's a really good point? Really, really good to reflect on that. You believe that self-obsession is one of the biggest forms of kind of poison for humanity right now? Do you think that's affecting?
It's one of the biggest addictions there is. All right, so if you look at the alcohol consumption through the lockdown, went up something like 300%, because everybody was in drinking away this problem that everybody had. Everybody was locked up, and then lockdown finished. Everybody's learned how to use the device. Even your fucking nana, who's 80 odd, is on Facebook, reconnecting with all their old fucking friends. Even they've learned how to use the fucking social media. And then you got a batch of people that just hate the world, so they become the trolls. And then you've got these older generation that have now learned to do it as well. And you get this younger generation. So everybody's fixating on this, and the old drinky poos and that has been pushed to the side a bit. So it's like, well, the percent of addicts in the population is about 15% that suffer with this illness anyway, addiction, where's it gone then? Because the percentages of alcohol sales have dropped. Where have all these addicts gone? And all the addicts are on the phones. They're addicted to themselves. We become addicted to ourselves. Like, that's self-obsession. It's one of the most narcissistic things as well, to be all about you and fuck everybody else. And not everybody knows that's even happening for them. They're not even aware.
100%, mate. And I can see you're spot on. And as you say, the kids now are so disconnected at times. They think they're connected. Because I've got a Snapchat for me, fucking whatever Snapchat is. I don't deal with that shit, but I listen to my Mrs. daughter. They're snapping each other. They know each other's locations and all this, but they'll be together and they're on the phone still snapping. They're actually not together. They're actually disconnected to the thing that they think's connecting them. It's almost like we're sailing off the edge of a cliff. That's how I can see it, as the next wave. I think we're just about sorting our shit together. But this next wave of humanity, if we don't do something, they're literally sailing off the edge of a cliff, because I don't know where it goes. Because the suicide rate keeps decreasing. The age bracket, it used to be 20, 25. It's now 15. Where does it go to? Where does it go to?
The awareness of their behaviours, they're not aware of how they're being on social media, and there's no awareness around it. Unless there's people like us saying, this is self-obsession, don't you? And it's not the best of things, What about helping other people? At the end of the day, we're a spiritual being, us, and we belong. I say I fucking hate people, I can't be arsed being around them, only because I have to put on a fucking... Nothing to do with them. It's all to do with me. I have to put on a mask, and I have to be a businessman near these group of people, or I have to be a bit of a dodgy cunt near these group of people. And then the truth is, it's not the people that are doing anything wrong to me. It's me doing wrong to myself. And these kids haven't got a clue. They think they're doing everything right by doing all these things on social media. And at the end of the day, we see them doing everything wrong. And some of them won't even acknowledge what you tell them. They'll be like, fuck off. You thought you
It's
fucking ate.
because you need to get them early, and we need to kind of reframe it. When it shows the teenagers, it's already embedded. As you say, it's literally like I'm looking at addicts. I'm looking in the room, and they're like addicts. They're like, if you take it
Well,
off
they
them,
are.
they'll fucking go.
But
They'll go bananas. They'll go
Yeah.
bananas if you take a phone off them.
I've seen my
they'll
own
fucking
kids go
claw
bonkers.
through a wall. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You touched on something there. I'm a big believer. So obviously we're working on that. We've been helping a lot of men, been running men's circles and stuff. And some of the stuff you're talking about, you know, addiction is a huge one. That's why I'm really interested in kind of your train of thought and what helped you get out of that. But you touched on something there around, you know, connections. We are like a tribe, humanity. We are a tribe. And effectively, we need, you know, that social connection. But it has to be, it's not like I always say, like there's energy vampires and energy boosters. It fucking needs to be energy boosters. And the older I've got, the smaller my circles got. You know, when I used to, you know, party like a madman, I'd be with party heads and, you know, acquaintances. And now I've gone through them. I've come to Australia and I don't party anymore. And now I really limit when I drink. And my circle's like this, but my circle, when I connect, I'm getting energy boosted by these people because we're the same. I don't have to wear my mask. I don't have to wear this fucking mask. And it feels so good for me. Now, when I went through the loneliness phase on my transformation and when I'm trying to grow, I went through a real loneliness phase and it fucking affected me, mate. You know, I really kind of, I remember one time I went on the piss with an acquaintance. It was over here in Australia and I was necking shots to try and pull birds because I thought I had better banter when I was pissed and I'm getting smashed and I'm doing this and I'm sitting there and it was just one of these moments because I was like, I came out of a relationship. I was, 45, 46 then. I'm thinking, I've done this about fucking 50, you know, I've done this loads of times. And I'm sitting there going, what am I doing? I'm talking to idiots, trying to get myself plastered so I can think I can pull better. And it was just this moment of realization. It's like, I've done this before. This leads to nowhere. This is stupid. And I put it down. I put it down. You know, exactly.
It's doing the same thing twice and expecting something different. Nothing's going to be different. It's going to be exactly the same.
I came home. I went upstairs and I fucking I lay on the floor and I just burst out crying. And I was just sobbing. And I was like, and I remember.
Is that where your change come in? Is that where?
Yeah, that's where all this started.
At the end of the day.
This is where all this started, and I just went. And I remember saying to myself, and I was trying. I got really emotional. I was like, "I'm so lonely. I am so." I was saying it out loud for the first time. The thing that I didn't want to say because I'm a fucking man. I'm not lonely. I've got loads of mates. But I realized because I was trying to change, and then I was getting lonely. Then I thought, "Fucking get on the piss," and I didn't party as much, but I would still drink at the weekend. But then I go bananas, and I was like, "What am I doing?" And I was lost. I was on the wrong tribe. I've done okay in business and stuff, so money seemed to be okay. People might look at me and think, "Oh, he's fucking great. He's done this, that, and the other." But I was lost, mate, and I was on the floor and it let it out, and I must have sobbed for about half an hour. Like I've never cried like that, like for years, and it was like this massive release, and I was like, "Oh, well, I'm glad that's out." And I was like, and I stood up and I went, "Right, we've got to change."
Yeah, it's good you're saying that though, because it'll encourage other men to cry. You get these tough bastards like men shouldn't cry. It's like fuck off. It's so natural for the human being to cry, whether it's happy or sad. It's there for a reason. You don't just lose tears out your eyes for no fucking reason. It's a real reaction to something. And if you're bottling something up like that, where's it going? It's just staying. It's ruminating inside you, and that rumination, then it goes into your mind, and then you're thinking, your intrusive thinking, it's just all wrong. Instead of just letting out saying, "I'm fucked. I need a right cry. I need to get this shit off my chest, and I need to take the power out of it by telling someone this or talking." And that's I know I wasn't connected in the right way, but I felt so connected because I flick on a button live and I'd have hundreds of people come on. So I suddenly felt connected, but it's a false connection. I thought, yeah, I'm connected, I'm staying connected. It's like, yeah, but how many human beings have you been there today? Well, I went to the gym and then I come back home and done my social media stuff. So you kind of brush shoulders with a couple of human beings. You didn't engage, you didn't smile, didn't start a conversation because you're just there to train, not socialise. And you've come home and not spoke to no one. We're pack animals. We belong in some kind of group. My group is my family. That is what it come down to. I'm not 28 anymore. I don't want to go to pubs. I don't go to clubs. I don't want to go to events. I want to be with my family. Do you know, when it comes to that point in later, as you know, it used to be like the 30s, but now it's like the 40s where men are cottoning on and thinking, this is a load of fucking bullshit. It's nonsense. Sniffing coke on a weekend and wanting to do myself in while the kids are fucking struck. This is nonsense. And it takes us all that time to wake up. And I just wish younger generations of men and women would look. There's an old saying, wise men learn by the mistakes, which is us. We've learned by our mistakes. But wiser men will listen to our mistakes, and they become wiser by listening to other people's mistakes. Like, yeah, fuck having them drugs.
I love
He
that.
was lucky, you know.
Yeah,
So
I
stop
love
being
that. It's like,
wise, stop making your own mistakes,
yeah,
listen to others. But there's not enough men
I love that.
talking that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're smartest because we learn from our mistakes. The smarter ones just look at us and say, "I'll learn from them. I'm not going to make that mistake." I love that.
Yeah, yeah. I've just learned by their mistakes. I'm a builder, and I'm going to watch him do all these fuck ups, and I'm not going to do them, and I'm probably going to have the best business. And that makes every sense. Learn by other. We've done it for generations. We've fucked up. We've failed in so many ways, but still. Human beings are still doing the same fucking mistakes instead of like war and fucking and fighting and religion and all that. We're constantly learning in them areas, and they're the biggest killers.
Yeah,
Religion and
for me,
war and all this shit.
yeah, because for me, above all of that is humanity. You talk about religion, gender, this, that, the other. Above that, we're just humanity. We're a human tribe, and at our core, that's all we are. We're just fucking, and we should be like back. And that when you look at it like that, if I met somebody from fucking wherever Timbuktu, and I was on the fucking moon, I go, oh, you're a human from Earth. It's just you're then just a human, right? Rather than
Yeah.
fucking all
What
this
race is
separation.
he? What race is she? And it's like 1 minute, but all the well, there's one. It's human
It,
race. That's
it's
it.
human.
Yeah.
And the discussion, 100%. Um, what advice would of all the stuff that you've gone through? What advice would you be given to some young men out there? And as I say, there's a lot of struggling men out there. You know, I've even through this. I think I mentioned to you. There's a guy who rocked up to our first men's circle, and he turned up from Melbourne, and he looked me in the eye and he told me that he's here because our first podcast. He had the noose hanging over his banister, and he said, "I'm here because that fucking podcast of you four men talking real resonated with me, and I just thought, fuck it, it's not just me." And he turned up.
Yeah.
He flew in from Melbourne to fucking tell me. It was like, fuck.
And if you stop
It's
doing all
mind
this now, it's like, so what? That guy didn't fucking
exactly,
hang himself because of fucking me doing these things. Do you know? But
exactly.
keep doing it because there's going to be a lot of them men and women that see these kinds of shows. I think the message
100%.
that I give though to the younger generation is it's faith in something bigger than you. You know that there's something at work. Meditate. If everybody on the planet meditated, there would be no war. There would not be war. Learn these. Everybody's talking about it. Get cold. Go in a sauna. Train. Do weight at our age. For men our age, I'd say. Go lifting weights. You want to live longer. Look at your diet. You want a replacement of testosterone. Do it. Do it all. It's all right for me to say, I do this, I do that. I always say, do your own research on things. Just start trying new things. I think more men our age are doing things like meditating and picking up on what other people are saying, like fasting and weightlifting and stuff for our age. So for a younger generation, it would be just do this stuff that us old cunts are only cottoning on to now. Go and start getting some cold water therapy. Go and try this meditating. Go into saunas. Get with a group of people. If your playmates or your playground is destructive for you, you need to go and find a new fucking playground and new playmates. It's that simple. You've got to sometimes cut everybody off and go and find yourselves. And sometimes the only way to find yourself is by reconnecting with other people that are doing things that you're attracted to. Like, yeah, I want to live longer. I want to try that fasting, that meditating. Yeah, I'll give that a try. And I think the more people that are giving them messages on social media, which I think there's enough out there, but it's how do you get the kids' attention to say, why aren't you listening to what these people are saying? Get cold, do weightlifting, meditate. It's like they need a nudge It's all there for the taking, I think, on social media, but they're distracted by other things, the self-obsessive things, smart cars, your Andrew Tates of the world, which is great. Love a lot of Andrew's messages as well. It's brilliant because he's making men switch on to think different, to think out of the box.
Yeah, you talk about him, and I think 50% great, and then he drifts, 50% the other side. But
Yeah,
some of the messaging he pulls, it's like fucking you then losing people, all that. But for me, it's like, as I say, then just shine the light on the fucking great stuff. Then just shine light. You don't need to shine the light on the
You
fucking
keep
bad
saying
stuff.
that shine a light, and somehow it's got to shine a light on a younger generation for them to be attracted to this thing that us old bastards are talking about. This is good for you, Don't go down this fucking path of drugs and drink. Go down the path of health and wealth and nice things and nice food. Do you believe in God? No. Do you believe, do you believe in a power greater? It's all there for the taking, but it's somehow you've got to kind of grab them. Like, listen to this a minute, will you? Or
Yeah.
try that. But there's too much other distractions going on for him, though, for him to see
No,
the stuff that we're awake to now.
100%. And just as we start to close out, you spoke about, it got really dark for you, and again, I think it's important to be real and share, because there's a lot of men who'll be sometimes listening to this and proving, the guy who came to our circle was on the edge. He was suicidal and stuff. How dark did it get for you? Did you get to those depths? And if you did, how did you pick yourself out?
Do you know what? The only thing that stopped me doing it was the kids. My eldest son's 21, and my
So
addiction goes way.
you were close.
Oh yeah, many times. But our dad, me and my sister, our dad fucked off and left us, and that abandonment for me and her, we have abandonment issues, and I speak openly about this in the book as well. If somebody abandons me or rejects me, I get really fucking confused. Do you know? So for me the ultimate rejection and abandonment would be to fucking do yourself in while you've got a child. For me, it's the ultimate no. And the only thought of my son, in them, they was a lot of my darkest times. I couldn't do it to him. I could not do that. I had to I used to look in the mirror and say, come on, I used to say, you're a dude. Come on, you're a fucking dude. Wake up. You're a fucking dude. Get in the gym. And I clawed my way into the gym, and then the process of my day would begin then. And I've got through that day, but I kept falling back to the drugs and the drink, and it was like a vicious cycle. I want to kill myself, but I can't because of my son. Right, I need to go to the gym. I need to feel great. I need to put on all these masks. And at night time, I'm not knackered of wearing all these masks. I need to drink and drug to calm myself down. And then bang, I'm going to be there in the morning wanting to kill myself. I can't because of my son. And the way I'm saying that, that's what was going on in my head all the time. You can't, but you need to do that. Fucking exhausting instead of just letting go and stop doing this stuff that's causing the problem and look at why you're doing this to stop what problem, what trauma is it in your life. And I've been able to look back at that, and now I'm not fucking knackered with putting all these masks on all the time. But the darkest time for me was I had a son in them days, and I couldn't let him down. If it wasn't for him, I can kind of get why people just say, fuck it, I'm done, because they've not succeeded. They're not where they want to be in life. The young taking the drugs that kind of from our era, there's like a school of drug using, like weed, whiz, aerosol. We kind of learn how to get over that hangover, that booze up with the weekend. So we kind of nurtured into it. So by the time we were taking coke, it's like, well, I kind of know about hangovers and I know what I need to do here. These kids are dismissing all that, going straight to a top shelf of drug that is absolutely fucking everybody's head up, and then they're getting involved in it, the drug dealing, they're still living in the parents' house, they've got no money, and they're just, the easiest way out is that. Not got no kids. So in my darkest time, the only thing that got me through was, and in them times was, and I can say other times, with my children. But for people that haven't got children and got fuck all about them or around them, or the relationships have cancelled and they're lonely, like you were saying, the easiest way out for some people is that. And I can understand, I can get it. I totally get how people do it. But I couldn't bring myself to do it.
No, well, thanks for sharing, and I'm glad you didn't, brother. Because if you helped a lot of people, I'm sure you'll continue to help a lot more people. And as you're talking there, it's just kind of what you described is kind of basically to get through it all, you just had to go in. You had to go inward, right? You've just started to, you're fucking trying to run away from facing the stuff you needed to face, which was internal work. And that's why hearing it from men like yourself, because people, so many men don't understand what internal work is. I think there's a language problem. People don't understand it. I know because I'm working with men. I'll go, I'll go meditation. They go, oh, I can't do meditation. And I'll say, why is that? And they say, oh, my brain's, as soon as I stop, my brain starts thinking. I'm like, well, that's fucking meditation. You're now
That's
aware
meditation.
of what's thinking.
I've always said it's like, that's meditation. It's your head running off, and then you're thinking, I'm meditating, bringing it back. And then my head's going to run off. What we're doing today, I'm going to go shopping. I'm meditating. And in that battle, that's meditation. But men aren't taught that. They're just taught you got to sit still and you got to let go of everything. It's not even meditating. It's bullshit. Meditating is battling with the mind. So you're right.
I know, and coming to the present moment. So, because the mental people I work with, because we do the 5 pillars of fulfillment, so they'll usually get stuck into the health and fitness. They understand work and life flow, struggle a bit in love and relationships, but always when I get into inner work, they go, oh yeah, I struggle with that, struggle with breath work, struggle with meditation. I'm like, this is fucking it for you. This is how you discover yourself. And they don't
the way
realize
you described it is meditation. My head runs off and that's meditation. That's where the light kicks in.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, congratulations, fucking continue. They just don't fucking get it. Exactly. Yeah. No, so mate, your story is really, really powerful. I could talk to you all day. I'm sure we'll talk again. I just, me personally, I just wish, I would love you to kick back into gear with your message, because you've got such a powerful message.
Well,
yours really is vulnerable guy.
I know where you're going with that. Yours, for some reason, it's been years of people asking to do podcasts, because I kind of done my own podcast myself. So I pulled away from ever doing a podcast with anyone else. And I said to someone close to me, like, what do you think if I do a podcast? Because again, I don't feel important enough. That self-importance is gone, but I've still got a message, and I have to start fighting with that now. You're not feeling important, so you're kind of dogging yourself down now. And you have got a message to carry, because it's going to fucking help at least one person. And that's what I never understood. If you help at least one person today, and I was like, fuck that, I've got a massive life show, I can help hundreds of people. The addict in me wasn't happy with helping just one. And now I have to come back, sending myself a thing. It's just one person. So every day I pray, God, do your work through me and let me help at least one person. It's like a little joke I've got. Just one person. And sometimes if I'm not on social media, I'm not helping anyone apart from myself. And that's not a good place to be, for me anyway.
Well, mate.
Well, yeah.
Good on
so
you.
This is the first podcast.
Mate, I hope it's the first of many, and I'm sure we'll. I want to stay close to you, mate. You're a fucking great guy. I can see it, and I just wish you fucking drive forward. You've helped a lot of people. I'm sure you'll help a lot more. Your story's inspiring, and good on you, mate. You're a real role model of your transformation for a lot of men coming through. There's a lot of men in your area. Let's take inspiration from what you've done.
Keep doing what you're doing as well, though, because you come across to my type of guy. Like, I like what he's saying here. I like how he's doing this podcast. And a couple of you guys got vulnerable, and I thought, that's good shit. That's where the money is for fucking our men today. And I found myself watching a few of them, and I thought, yeah, when you asked, that's when I decided, well, yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing here to do it. Other people have asked me to do podcasts. It's like crime and violence. I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about that. I'll bring it into a conversation, but I don't want to fucking sell myself on a violent past. Do you know what I mean? What message is that giving to anyone?
So, no, mate, and that's what I'm saying. Look, I believe everybody's a ball of love. We're born a ball of love. We get programmed. We do our traumas, through our lifestyle, and people do stuff. They go off the fucking beaten track. You know what I mean? There's people in my world who've gone fucking, with family, this, that, who've taken wrong paths, and it happens. But ultimately, it's where you get to, from those lessons, what you learn and what you give back. If you've gone through a bad time, you've fucked up. We've all fucked up. I fucked up. And then it's how you choose to take those lessons. And I really kind of, I think you've got I think you've got a great story. You've got a great following. I think if you keep driving that, you're going to help a lot of people. And, I think I love your message. I love your vulnerability. So fucking keep it going, brother.
Will do, Ian. Thank you. I keep doing what you're doing as well.
Thank you, brother. Brilliant chatting. Chat again
soon. We need part 2 because I don't shut up.
Yeah, well, mate, I'll look forward to it. Line it up now.